Greetings, everyone. Greetings, and welcome to Discussions. It happens to be Saturday, June 11th, 2011. So that would make it 6/11/11. Okay. All right. And welcome to Discussions. We are broadcasting to you live. Well, of course, live at the time this was produced. Live at the newsletter Uncensored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. I am your host, James Piranha Madonna of Megalife 21, the hardest hitting internet talk radio station on the planet, and I am here with my co-host and mentor, the illustrious, the one and only, the Pope of the Internet, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. And how are you, sir?
Excellent.
And I'm here.
Today is fine today.
Today's fine. It rained today.
Last night it rained.
We've had so many days of hazy, hot, and humid, over 90-degree temperatures, and I'm glad to see temperatures hovering around 75 degrees as a high, if not lower. It's very cool and comfortable, and overcast. A great weather for frogs, newts, salamanders, and ducks. An overcast, rainy day.
Newt Gingrich?
Yeah, no, not Newt Gingrich. No, Newt's are cute. Newt Gingrich is far from being cute.
Newt had a mutiny the other day. All of his staff
A mutiny?
quit on him. Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Top staff.
Maybe
I think I know why.
maybe they saw what conservative capitalism is really all about. No, it's not that good, right?
I think they're seeing that Mr. Nudie is in the race just to spend the money, campaign money. Him and his wife, they want to go on vacations and stuff. It's not serious.
Oh,
it's
really?
not serious about running for president.
Really? Isn't that kind of like Chris Christie using taxpayers' money for personal use?
Yeah.
In regards to last week's discussion show?
Yeah.
Republicans like to use taxpayers' money for extravagant luxuries for their own pleasure, I notice.
Yeah.
It's a trend.
Take it from the poor, give it back to the rich.
Well, yeah, the tax burden is on the middle class. I read somewhere that middle America makes up like 80% of businesses in the United States are considered part of middle America, mid-class. I mean,
Small business?
small businesses, entrepreneurs, mom and pop stores, the middle class.
And those are the businesses who provide the jobs.
80% of American businesses are middle
80,
class.
I hear those figures all the time.
Yeah, middle class, small emerging growth companies, like they say in the mutual.
But instead of giving subsidies and help to them, what do we give it to? Exxon and GE.
That pay no taxes at all.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, the mutual fund industry, they like to call it emerging young growth companies. Well, this is 80%. By the way, this is me prop. This is an authentic imported Blackthorn Shillelagh from Ireland. Okay, there's the shamrock. I know you've seen this every week, but it's an excellent prop. Because it represents the fight of the monarchy for centuries, the greedy, selfish British monarchy oppressing the Irish for centuries, and it's very similar to the fight of the little guy against the fat cats here in the United States, supported by conservative Republicans. All right, now. I want to start off by saying that first we had Arnold's Bratwurst, and then people forgot about Arnold's Bratwurst rather quickly, and then we had Congressman Anthony Weiner's Wiener, and then I saw on the news President Obama getting severe criticism I assume from conservatives, criticism for chowing down on chili dogs and French fries after his wife, Michelle Obama, gave a lecture somewhere, or maybe across the country, about proper eating habits, setting the example for our children, because obesity seems to be a nationwide American epidemic. And they were saying, you know, she was talking about diabetes prevention. First of all, obesity and diabetes does not come from consuming animal protein and fats. It comes from consuming refined carbohydrates, which is white sugar and white flour. Okay, high carb, high refined carbs, raise your blood sugar, and then raise your insulin level, and your insulin level, I guess, you know, because of the yo-yo syndrome, the syndrome X becomes resistant. You become insulin resistant because of the strain you're putting on your body, your pancreas, and then eventually insulin cannot process all that sugar anymore. The body converts it to fat. You do not have sufficient amount of ketones to mobilize that fat, and it's stored as fat, adipose tissue, and then eventually you get diabetes. The whole system sort of shuts down, and this is what causes the obesity in America, not the chili dogs. Leave Obama alone. Let him enjoy his chili dogs. There's nothing wrong with the president.
He's certainly not obese.
No, he's athletic. He loves to play basketball, sports. He works out, I'm sure. You know, just like they gave Obama a hard time when he was swimming and frolicking on Waikiki Beach in a bathing suit without a shirt on, because they made a big stink about the President of the United States not wearing a shirt, a T-shirt. His torso was exposed. He's the president. They made a big deal about that. It's the same thing with this. Leave the guy alone. Let him enjoy his delicious hot chili dogs with everything on it all the way. I guess that's what he was eating. It doesn't cause diabetes. It doesn't cause obesity. It's sugar that is being refined carbohydrates, white sugar and white flour, which is being pushed by the American food industry with their lobbyists, and that's what you see on the shelves in American supermarkets. And that's that. We forgot about Arnold's bratwurst. We went to Congressman Wiener's Wiener, and of course Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York. Everybody knows. I suppose he's married, and he was corresponding with Chicky Poos on Facebook.
Twitter and Facebook.
Twitter and Facebook. Twitter. He was corresponding on Twitter also to get to their twatter. Twitter to their twatter.
Twittering twatters.
He was twittering twatters. Sounds like a toiki. Anyway, he was twittering twatters with his wiener, Wiener's Wiener.
Showing his wiener.
Anthony Wiener's Wiener. What?
He was showing his wiener.
He was showing
plus his chest.
His definition.
Yes, I think he works out a little bit.
He was his definition was rather decent for a skinny flock.
Yeah, for a very lanky man.
A very lanky, skinny man.
Yeah.
He's well conditioned, obviously. He's very cut up, but he wasn't too shy about showing it, including his wiener. And I'm surprised because he's a United States congressman. Isn't he afraid of any of this, leaking out? The same thing with Elliot Spitzer. Spitzer. What the hell was his name? Spitzer, former governor of New York State. Did he use taxpayers' money, by the way, to pay for that prostitute? Or was that 80 grand, 85 grand of his own money?
That was his own moolah.
That was his own moolah.
As far as they know, I haven't heard anything that they proved anything of that nature. He's got his own show on CNN.
There you have it. He has his own. What did I say last week about the infamous will always be very successful in the United States and make tons of money? Not the nice guys, the infamous. Yeah. I'm sure Mildred Pena, after she sufficiently pulled on Arnold Schwarzenegger's pinga, she will start making money and getting invited interviews and blah blah blah. She'll be loaded, just like, you know, this Tiger Woods' gumadas, his mistresses. Rachel, you could tell. But anyway, Anthony Weiner, just his hormones took over, and he forgot all about his political career, all right, and exposed his wiener. And maybe if he steps down from politics, if he quits, maybe he can be the new spokesman for Oscar Mayer and ride around in the Oscar Mayer wiener truck. You know that famous Oscar Mayer truck? Maybe he can get a job with that. He can dress up as a wiener. Wouldn't that be great? You know, if he's out of work and he needs, you know, Anthony Weiner has a future career. I don't know why they do this, you know, because you don't shit where you eat, and you do not eat where you shit. I think my grandmother used to say that. You know, but you know, he did it. He was overcome by lust, and it's over with. Of course, he got caught. Of course, if you're famous, rich or famous or just famous or in politics, of course, if you mess around, one of the chicks are going to open their big fucking mouth. Of course they're going to do that. How could, you know, girls talk about guys kissing and telling? Well, they're no angel. So it's going to leak out. So it doesn't surprise me, but I found it to be quite funny because of his last name, Anthony Weiner, Congressman Anthony Weiner, and his magical wiener. I just feel bad that, you know, a Democratic seat in Congress will become vacated, and I'm sure the Republicans are all over the story. The conservatives are all over the story about Anthony Weiner and his wiener, and you know, they won't let up. I mean, Democrats will make their point and move on, but Republicans, conservatives will go on and on and on like ravens picking on a carcass, or vultures. They have an agenda, and they want to reduce the Democratic seats in the Senate and Congress, and this is what they want. And they won't let up until he steps down, and until other, you know, Democrats have skeletons in their closet that are unveiled. But the Democrats should do the same thing to the Republicans when there's dirt.
Yeah, the Republicans stay in office.
Yeah, they should be all over them when dirt leaks out. You know.
No, Democrats don't do that.
Yeah, namby-pambies.
No backbone.
No, whatever. Pigeon-livered, pusillanimous pipsqueaks. They got no backbone.
No intestinal fortitude.
No intestinal fortitude. No gumption. They could do it. They could play the same dirty game as conservatives.
Or it's like the why was the skeleton afraid to cross the road?
Why?
No guts.
I believe. I think it was Al Pacino who was telling another actor a joke on a movie set about a skeleton, you know, walking into a bar and ordering beer with a mop in his hand. I think it has something to do with the fact that the skeleton would drink the beer and mop it up and then recycle it, something like that. Yeah, it was something.
No bladder.
It was something of that nature.
Oh,
what about the joke that the reinforcer Andrew Anderson told in the Wizard Ozybuko's dungeon about how do you turn a fox into a hippopotamus? You marry her. Which unfortunately often happens when you get married. You know, the girl gets too comfortable and everything. Starts neglecting herself. But yeah, so leave Obama alone. Let him enjoy his Texas wieners. It doesn't cause diabetes or obesity. It's all that crap that the food lobbyists in America, you know, all the propaganda that they push on everybody, that fats are bad, when in actuality fats are necessary for good health. It's the refined sugar and white flour, simple carbohydrates. That is the cause of diabetes and obesity and heart disease and cancer. Cancer,
Love sugar.
viruses and bacteria. They love to eat sugar, by the way. They love it. That's their number one choice of food, and that's that, Simple carbs. Go Atkins. Anyway, begin with the first article.
A medium-sized solar flare has erupted from the sun in an impressive display captured by NASA cameras.
Thank you. I told you, when you get a good, big, juicy article about solar flares, to please send me an email so I can wear my classy black leather spaghetti western hat, my High Plains Drifter hat that I have, that black leather,
I don't see it.
to represent shielding the solar flare.
I don't see the hat on.
Because I didn't know you were going to do a solar flare article. Anyway, proceed.
Scientists say that the event won't have a significant impact on the Earth. NASA says the flare peaked on Tuesday and created a large cloud that appeared to cover almost half the surface of the sun. Images were recorded by the orbiting satellite called the Solar Dynamics Observatory. A news release says solar energy released by the event would deliver a glancing blow to Earth's magnetic field Wednesday or today. But it's not expected to cause a major impact here. The National Weather Service is predicting minor effects on satellites and weak impacts on some power grids. Now, Mr. Gary Null and others are predicting a massive eruption about a year and a half from now, which may take out the electrical grid.
The big grid.
Big grid in the United States.
Cause blackout, nationwide blackout?
Put a lot of, maybe not a nationwide, but enough people will be in big trouble.
Well, the bad thing, the last time a grid got blown out here in the Northeast, people couldn't even use their cell phones. I remember it. I happened to be at Whole Foods at that time with friends in Ridgewood, New Jersey when it happened, and guess what? People had to leave shopping carts that were loaded to the hilt with groceries because they had no means, they had no backup generator to maintain the front end register, so they could not scan anything. But they only had enough power in the backup generator to maintain the frozen food section and the refrigerated section, but they didn't have enough to supply electricity
to run the rest of the
to run the register. So there was no manual way they could have rung up merchandise. Isn't that strange? I mean, they had enough electricity for the perishables, for the refrigeration, but not for the registers. And that, I remember, everything went out. People were complaining they couldn't use their cell phones. I guess the location of the antennas
well,
went out.
Probably they all run on electricity. Same
Yeah.
thing that happened over there in Japan with the Fukushima and stuff. You know, backup generators couldn't work and everything they're electric.
Now, what bothers me about the solar flare is not the existence of the solar flare, because it's quite natural. What bothers me is the holes in our ozone layer created by big business, the oil companies spewing fluorocarbons from their, I guess, refinery smokestacks into the atmosphere, and of course the destruction of the world's rainforests for greed, to harvest the wood. Okay, all this because of corporate greed. We have holes in the ozone layer, and if we have holes that are too numerous or too large, a big kahuna solar flare, or flares, plural, would destroy the planet, would incinerate the surface of the planet, from what I understand. That's the problem I have with solar flares. You know.
Specialists
Yeah.
in high-tech labs tested thousands of vegetables as they hunted for the source of the world's deadliest E. coli outbreak. But in the end, it was old-fashioned detective work that provided the answer. German-grown sprouts. Remember last week they tried to blame the organic farmer.
They found E. coli in the vegetable, not on the surface. It was inside, right?
Both.
And animals that forage in farms, in farmland, they poop. And for some reason,
Yeah, but it's usually it's a problem with the irrigation. That's where you're getting it from.
it's in the water supply.
See, well, it could be in the ground and it could be splashing up.
But
the irrigation.
But it got into the veggie,
Yeah,
into the
veggie.
interior of
Yeah.
the veggie,
Yes.
which is surprising.
After more than a month of searching, health officials announced on Friday they had determined that the sprouts from an organic farm in the northern German village of Bayernbüttel were the source of the outbreak that has killed 31 people, sickened nearly 3,100, and prompted much of Europe to shun vegetables. It was like a crime thriller where you have to find the bad guy. It's little surprise that sprouts were the culprit. They have been implicated in many previous foodborne outbreaks. Ones in Michigan and Virginia in 2005, and a large outbreak in Japan in 1996 that killed 11 people and sickened more than 9,000. Although sprouts are full of protein and vitamins, their ability to transmit disease makes some public health officials nervous. Sprouts have abundant surface area for bacteria to cling to. And if their seeds are contaminated, washing won't help. E. coli can stick tightly to the surface of seeds needed to make sprouts, and they can lay dormant on the seeds for months.
Dormant?
Dormant.
Oh, dormant, as in dormancy.
Dormancy. Dormant.
Dormant?
Dormant.
Sounds like doormat.
Could be.
a lot of
Once
those
water is added to make them grow, the number of bacteria carried within the seeds can reproduce up to 100,000 times.
Wow. Were these mung bean sprouts or alfalfa sprouts?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. But nevertheless, a sprout is a sprout.
German
Or
investigators
bacteria, I guess.
tracked the path of the bacteria step by step
Inch by inch.
from hospital.
Slowly I turn. Step. Was that Abbott and Costello? Step by step, inch by inch. Oh, I'm sorry. Got carried away for a second. Go ahead.
From the hospital, patients struggling with diarrhea and kidney failure, to restaurants where they may have gotten sick, to specific meals and ingredients, to industrial food suppliers, and the farms that grew the produce. And they still have more questions to answer, such as what contaminated the sprouts in the first place?
There you go.
Bad seeds, contaminated water, nearby animals. The answer is elusive. Interviews with thousands of patients, mostly women, ages 20 to 50, with healthy lifestyles, led investigators to conclude initially that salads could be the problem. Health officials immediately warned consumers to avoid cucumbers, tomatoes, and lettuce, causing huge losses to European farmers as demand plummeted for their produce. But the seemingly ubiquitous alfalfa, radish, other sprouts weren't yet on anyone's radar. You get this stuff in every cafeteria, said Gert Hahn, spokesman for the Agricultural Ministry in Lower Saxony, the state where the contaminated sprouts were found. But after 2 weeks of diarrhea, most people don't remember if they had a few sprouts on top of a ham sandwich or mixed into a salad. Inspectors visited more than 400 farms in Lower Saxony alone looking for evidence, and the state put 1,000 people on the case, including health authorities, food inspectors, and veterinarians. Experts conducted microbiological tests, a total of 4,645 nationwide, but also visited the farms and checked their hygienic conditions, especially looking to see whether manure was used and could have contaminated the produce. In Amsterdam, the Dutch authorities say they have found a second beet sprout grower contaminated with a strain of E. coli bacteria that is different from the one causing Europe's deadly E. coli crisis. The Dutch Food Safety Authority says neither the grower detected Friday nor another found to be contaminated in the Netherlands this week have the strain of E. coli that has killed 31 people and sickened nearly 3,100 around Europe. No one is known to have been sickened by the Dutch beets, however. The Netherlands health minister has ordered the company's products pulled from the shelves. Health officials say the count of U.S. cases linked to the blood poisoning outbreak in Europe is 5. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Friday added a case to the count. Unlike the previous 4, the new case was not someone who had been to Germany. It was a family member who apparently was infected with one of the travelers.
This is what happens when you go au naturel with these shows. Son of a bitch. I like to wrap him with my shillelagh, I swear. Anyway, what was the conclusion of this article before we were rudely interrupted?
The conclusion was they think they've found the cause, I mean not the cause, but the vegetables involved, but they still are looking for a cause. Okay?
Yeah, because well, I understand about the surface area, about the sprouts, but the water used to irrigate these plants should be from a very pure source, not a questionable source.
Well, it's not a matter of that. You got the irrigation, and then you might have animal poop on the ground somewhere, and it gets in.
Can't help that.
You know, and then it sprays on the. Yeah, but they're talking about seeds.
Seeds.
The sprout seeds.
Yeah.
Before they sprout.
Right. Like.
So it's on the seed. Now, how the hell does it get on the seeds?
Interesting.
Aren't the seeds and sprouts, aren't they underground?
Yes.
When they come out, I mean, they're not sprouted.
No. Well, when you deliberately sprout, let's say mung beans or soybeans at home, you wet them and you put them in the dark, and then you continuously keep them very moist in a dark, moist environment. That sprouts them, you know.
I believe I used to sprout some kind of beans, I don't know what the hell they were, on paper towel.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Well, they used to, in the health food stores, I used to see sprouters, which was nothing but a big jar with a, you don't really need the jar. You could do it with any jar, but, you know, you could put cheesecloth or something with a rubber band over the top and, you know, and put a, I don't know, like a 1 pound bag of mung beans or whatever. It could be any bean, I'm sure. Put water in it, shake it, rinse it, drain the water out, put it in the dark. And eventually they will sprout. And supposedly, well, not supposedly, actuality, the sprouted bean has a high amount of vitamin C in it, which normally would not be present if you ate the bean. If you consumed the legume as is and cooked it, and it wouldn't have any vitamin C. But yeah, if you sprout it, all of a sudden the vitamin C appears. And that's probably why they have this slight tart flavor in them. Very slight tart flavor. You can almost taste the vitamin C. You know, but I just want to remind everyone that on the Megalife 21 Facebook profile, I found a very interesting old nostalgic painting, which originally I located from this apparently left-wing liberal internet talk. No, not internet. What am I saying? Yeah, a left-wing liberal radio station located on Key West, Florida, called Southernmost Point Radio. And it was called The Pyramid of the Capitalist System. Very clever, the way they have it all set up. But anyway, I quickly saved it to the Megalife 21 album that's there. So, you know, look it up. And look it up, save it, print it out, frame it, put it on your wall. It's very clever, whoever did it way back in the day. But a picture paints 1,000 words, and you won't have any trouble figuring this one out because it's illustrated. Anyway, next article.
Dolphins can find food, enemies, and other dolphins by sending out waves, sound waves, through the water.
Echolocation. A sonar. A sonar. Yeah, a sonar version.
It's the same type of system the bats use. Dolphins send out high-pitched sound waves through the water. When the waves reach an object, they bounce back to the dolphin. The echoes return to the dolphin's special jawbone.
Could this be the basis of modern-day sonar?
This could be the basis why modern-day sonar is hurting so many of these animals that they are confused and whatever, and they end up on the beaches, dead.
There you go. Mysteriously, an intelligent mammal beached, and they wonder why they commit this suicide, or they wonder why they're sick. You know, of course, for those that listen to Rush Limbaugh, he says that whales and dolphins are not intelligent, and it doesn't matter if they get caught in fishnets and die. That's what the Republicans say.
Yeah, only conservatives are intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, only conservatives. Oh, conservatives also deny the existence of ozone layer damage, holes in the ozone. They deny the
Climate
existence.
change, yes,
They don't believe in global warming. They said it's the natural way of things. The Earth changes every so many thousands of years and blah, all this shit. Anyway, anything to justify corporate greed and the devil's economics.
The jawbone conducts the sound waves to the ear. Dolphins can learn to tell how far away something is and what it is. They can even learn what kind of fish makes what kind of pattern of sound waves. Dolphins communicate with each other with clicks.
That's very good.
Squeaks. Grunts. Maybe I can talk to dolphins.
Yeah.
Ah, the dolphin whisperer.
You know what dolphins fascinate the hell out of me? The very unusual, strange, pinkish white freshwater dolphins of the Amazon River, with a very long, thin snout, similar to like the
like a bottlenose.
The gavial crocodile of India. Yeah, like no, long, like
a marlin.
Yes, but very long and slender, very long and slender, with a big bulbous forehead, and they're like a pinkish white. and they're freshwater dolphins. And I heard that a species also exists in the Yangtze River of China. I'm not sure about that, but I know they're in the Amazon. Fascinating. And they're friendly. You know, the guy was feeding them. You know who was feeding them by hand? The man, the Englishman or Australian or whatever that does that show, River Monster. There's a show on cable called The River Monster, where he seeks out the world's most dangerous predatory freshwater fish. Quite large, too. Enough to hurt a human. Anyway,
the dolphins communicate with clicks, squeaks, grunts, and whistles.
Wow.
Sound waves travel more than 4 times faster through water than through the air, at almost 1 mile per second.
Mm-hmm.
So dolphins have no trouble talking to each other. Each dolphin has its own special whistle.
Right.
That other dolphins can recognize. After a dolphin calf is born, the mother may whistle to it constantly for days.
Mm-hmm.
This helps the calf learn its mom's special whistle. The calf may develop its own whistle by the time it is 1 month old.
Interesting.
Dolphins ride the tops of ocean waves, waves made by boats, and the wake or water trail made by bigger whales. Babies might travel in their mother's wakes. It looks as if they're having a lot of fun. They also love to play with each other. They may take turns chasing each other, dodge around clumps of seaweed, carry around objects, or toss seaweed or fish around. Dolphins are social animals. They love being around other dolphins. And they also can enjoy being around other species, such as people.
Depends on the people.
Dolphins usually stay together in groups of 2 to 15 dolphins, called pods.
Yeah, they're not meant to be exploited for money, for profit by man, by being forced by being killed, by being forced to entertain tourists for hours every day, 24/7, being forced to entertain tourists and exploited like that in a watery prison.
What is that, in Japan, where they have that ritual? That macho ritual that they kill the dolphins to prove they're a man?
No. What I heard was the Japanese government gave permission to the commercial fishing industry because the commercial fishing industry were they were bitching and moaning that the dolphins were eating their profits. The Japanese government allowed them at one point to massacre, to herd and massacre multitudes upon multitudes of dolphins and kill them in cold blood and club them to death, including their young, in sort of a cove area where the dolphins normally migrate to, and it's a very horrible sight. I saw a video on
Blood
it.
all over.
Yeah.
Individuals often travel from pod to pod, visiting or hunting together. Sometimes many pods will come together and form a herd. Dolphins support each other. They might help lift sick dolphins or calves to the surface so they can breathe. There are many stories of dolphins rescuing drowning people. Scientists don't know how intelligent dolphins are. Their needs are so different from our own, it's hard to judge. Dolphins often work together to hunt food. A group of dolphins will circle a school of fish, herding the fish into a tight little ball. Then the dolphins take turns blasting through the ball of fish, grabbing them up.
Yeah, I imagine they circle and then quickly go through it. And the other dolphins herd and go through it, around and then across. And yeah, well, the sailfish and marlins do that, sort of.
Or dolphins may herd fish into shallow water, trapping them against the sandbars or the shore, so the dolphins can feed easily.
Yeah, that's how the South Pacific Islanders, they beat the women of the whole group, tribe. They beat the water and herd the fish into the shallows where they have nets and whatever, or they spear them. Yeah.
Dolphins also use tools. Some bottlenose dolphins near Australia carry sea sponges in their beaks.
Really?
Or long snouts.
And what does the sea sponge do? It helps.
They dive down with the sponges, then let go of them just as they surface to catch their fish.
Are dolphins intelligent enough to use the sea sponge as perhaps a contraceptive sponge?
What the hell would a dolphin want to be using contraception
Well, I don't know.
for?
You're getting into the intelligence of dolphins, the high intelligence.
God said, multiply.
Well,
be fruitful and multiply.
I just want people to know, just because these animals are highly intelligent, just like with chimpanzees,
they can rip your face off.
They are still wild animals and tend to be very temperamental, and you cannot totally trust them. They are not domesticated animals. They cannot be pets. So just beware. Hey, orcas have been known to get pissed off. I don't blame them. You take a huge orca and have it live in a saltwater pool and force it to perform, and then someday
elephants too can turn.
That orca's going to get pissed, and they do. Elephants, yeah, elephants that are used in circuses or for work and are mistreated. Like I've seen videos of elephants in India who go on a rampage. They got shackles around their feet, chains, and they got these people, these Indian guys, hitting them, to get them to do things, constantly hitting them and hitting them and hitting them. Hey, if you were as big and powerful as an elephant and somebody had chains around your ankles and they hit you continuously, you'd lose your temper someday too, and destroy the town and kill your trainer, your master.
Some experts think dolphins are using the sponges as shields to protect their beaks from sharp rocks, shells, or spiny fish. Or they might be using the sponges to stir up food from the seagrass.
All right, we're going to take a break. Why? Well, it happens to be time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's lunch. And then we will come back. Of course, we will come back quickly, because we will edit the mumbo jumbo that is unnecessary. But okay, we are back now. During the brief break, I was told that Anthony Weiner and his magical wiener, that he was discussing matters through text with a 17-year-old female, but it wasn't risque. It was just a normal conversation. But of course, they're bringing up every little thing. And I was talking to Reverend Bill, Dr. Bill here, my co-host and mentor, that eventually the conservatives are going to pressure him into going to therapy and, of course, stepping down from being a congressman. But nothing is ever mentioned about the conservatives going to therapy for all of their sins, which is much more severe. Greed, dishonesty, ill-gotten gain. Oh, no. Oh, they don't need therapy. It's always about sex with the conservatives. And, a sin is a sin, pretty much. But they don't look at it that way, I guess, Dr. Bill.
No, they don't.
No, they don't look at it at all. And then he was telling me G.W. Bush changed the whole matter of your right to privacy and the fact that the government can spy on you. They can spy on you even though you're paying for the internet and cell phone service. They reserve the right to spy on you. And because I brought up the subject of young people in school cannot what do you call it?
Sexting.
Sexting, text messaging, risque information, text messaging, sexual conversation back and forth, and sending possibly nude photos back and forth through the email. That the government can spy on you and prohibit this sexting and emailing of provocative, risque photos. In my opinion, it's an invasion of privacy, and if you're paying for the service, no one has the right to spy on you or prevent you from saying what you feel like saying through email or sending a friend certain photographs. You're paying for it. Now, if the government paid for the internet service, like they do in other countries, then they may have the right very well to monitor what you do and stop this kind of transaction. But if you're paying for it, they have no business saying anything. It's invasion of privacy, and no one has protested. I have not seen any protesting by the people about this. And what is the law called that the asshole G.W. Bush passed? What is it called?
USA Patriot Act.
The USA Patriot Act.
Which was just renewed under Mr. Obama.
Obama renewed it.
Well, he didn't renew it, but he could have vetoed it.
He could have vetoed it. Just like Obama did not veto the Bush tax cuts for the rich, right? Did he try to veto that?
No, they made an agreement.
Made an agreement.
They gave the Republicans what they want. That's called an agreement. The Republicans don't give the Democrats anything they want.
Yeah, I mean, tax cuts for the rich never created jobs. They will not create jobs, except in mainland China and India. And it's a complete lie. And you know, like I said before, what I have on the Megalife 21 Facebook profile, the old-time pyramid of the capitalist system is true. It's still true today. You know, thinking about Anthony Weiner reminds me of the old New York Yankee Franks. They actually have their own hot dogs. The New York Yankee Franks commercial, I think from the 1980s, where Louis Tiant would hold up the Yankee Frank in a bun with mustard on it or whatever, and he would say, "It's great to be with a wiener." I thought that was funny. They should find Louis Tiant and have him do that, you know, supporting Anthony Weiner. It's great to be with a wiener. Unbelievable. They're making a big deal out of it. I knew they would do this. I knew it. You notice how fast the Arnold Schwarzenegger situation disappeared. You don't see, you know, Democrats or liberals harping on that subject for weeks and weeks and weeks, making a big deal out of it. That was sexual. He was a Republican. He is a Republican. You don't see the liberals obsessed with that. But when a Democrat has any type of controversy involving sex, they just don't stop. They don't stop. And honestly, it's no one's damn business, you know, in reality. But actually, I was thinking of what title to use for the show, and that might do it. Something involved with Anthony Weiner and the spying and prohibiting of your right to privacy,
not only
including sexuality.
We have a Fourth Amendment to our Constitution which says we are not to be spied on. This is what happens with people who are fearful. A USA Patriot Act gets passed, which overrides the Constitution.
Ah.
Right?
Anyway, it's time for promo. Let me get this out of the way. This gentleman next to me right here. This is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. you can acquire, or procure, or whatever word you want to use, one of William J. Eisenman's paintings by going to his Facebook profile, okay, which is William.J. Eisenman as an extension, you know, www.facebook.com. Or you can go to www.newslettercensored.com, and if you see something you like, send them an email, and if it's available, the bidding generally starts at $500 a piece. Now, this right here. This is the backbone of our entire organization. Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, human sexuality, health, and child rearing. It contains the type of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? Go to www.newslettercensored.com, read all of the hard-hitting information, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. There is nothing like Newsletter Censored out there in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. You will never hear or read anything like Newsletter Censored. Okay? It is uncontrolled, hard-hitting truth at its finest. And you need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative and to survive in the end times, because we are living in the end times. It starts off with the political monologue by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. And if there's room for tidbits, which deals with current news topics here and there, we have the God Project with William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. And last but not least, Sexuality, a Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, Ph.D. Okay? You need Newsletter Censored. This is the very best way to be a part of our organization, is to get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored with your gift to support this work.
And the newest issue is undergoing typing right now. This country was never a Christian nation.
Is that the title of it?
That's the title.
Oh, that's good. That's heavy, that's hard-hitting. That's heavy-duty. This country was never a Christian nation, and that's the newest issue that's coming out in the very near future. Do you want me to show the premature painting, or you want me to wait until it's completely finished?
Yeah, you can show it.
All right. I've been doing that right.